Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the latest edition of the NORA Webcast series. I have a very, very special show for you today. My special guest is from our headline sponsors, our award partners for the NORAs. If you've not been watching the shows before, then I'll just recap a little on where we're up to with regards to the National Online Recruitment Awards. Our awards event is in the 10th of November. We started the process back in August, where we asked job seekers, candidates all over the country to nominate their favorite recruitment websites, from job boards, job search platforms, recruitment agencies, large and small, employers large and small, publications, right across the board. So what we want to do all the time with the NORAs is to take the temperature of the online recruitment marketplace from a candidate's point of view. We're really interested in what candidates see, what they experience, and how they go through the hiring process. And anywhere that's advertising jobs online, we want to look at it closely and pick out the ones who are examples of the very best in online recruitment practice. So 10,000, almost 10,000 nominations in the first place. We had just about 500 separate recruitment websites that have now been whittled down to just over 80 finalists in the 13 award categories that we have. So we've been going through this process for quite some time now, and the awards event itself is going to be on the 10th of November, which is 2 weeks from today. So if you haven't made plans to get there so far, go on the norauk.com website and make sure that you do so, especially if you're finalists. If you're going to be named as the winner in one of the award categories, we want you to come up on stage and accept the award live. So it's really important to be there. So getting back to the show, the reason that we have the webcast series is so that we can speak with people who are involved, people in the organizations involved in the NORAs, and today, we're going to be speaking with Jerome Ternynck from SmartRecruiters. Jerome is the founder and CEO of SmartRecruiters, and I think you'll agree when we get him on, has a lot to say and a lot of data and information to back it up on the subject of recruitment. So without faffing on too much more, let's bring Jerome to the screen. Jerome, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, Simon. Thanks for having me. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for bringing me onto the show. I'm excited. It was really exciting to see the websites that were submitted, and as a judge, I really enjoyed that process. So.
Yeah. It's great to have SmartRecruiters involved with the NORAs, because the values of SmartRecruiters are very much in alignment with the NORAs, in that we know that recruitment is not just about the recruiter, it's not just about the candidate, it's not just about the employer. All of these things come together, but we know that if you're making most of your decisions from a candidate's perspective, or what works well from candidates, you can't go too far wrong. And again, being informed as to the motivations of candidates is really important. So for people who maybe don't know so much about SmartRecruiters and yourself and your background, can you give us a little bit of background there to give us context?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Jerome Ternynck. I'm the founder and CEO of SmartRecruiters. Personally, I've been in the industry for quite some time. I was a recruiter back in some time. Then I started one of the first applicant tracking systems, a company called Mistete that went on to be called Lumes, that went on to be called Saba, that went on to be called Cornerstone or something. And I did that for 10 years. And in 2010, realizing that applicant tracking systems really didn't make hiring any easier, I moved to San Francisco in order to create SmartRecruiters. And we are the generational successors to applicant tracking system, a talent acquisition suite for large enterprises, and we do that for about 1,000 enterprises, companies like Bosch or Visa or LinkedIn, Twitter, use SmartRecruiters to manage their recruiting.
Yeah. So the position that you're in with SmartRecruiters, the organization as well as yourself personally, is that you have insight to organizations all across the globe, large and small, a lot of them very large, and with very large numbers of employees, and that gives you in turn a huge amount of data on how they go about the recruiting, how they go about their hiring, the behaviors of recruiters and candidates, and all of that information goes into a melting pot that helps to inform your view of the marketplace, which, as I say, gives a real behind-the-scenes look to understanding what goes on in modern day hiring and recruitment today. And it's that experience that I was really keen to get on board with you as a judge for the NORAs, because even though we ask our judges to visit all the recruitment websites and put a candidate's hat on, what we ask them to do is also to bring their experience and their knowledge, where they can see what's working and understand why it's working or why it's not working, and be able to discern the difference between the good and the bad. So going back to the SmartRecruiters, can you give us an idea? We last spoke about a year ago in the summer, in the middle of the earliest lockdowns in COVID. Can you tell us a little bit about the growth of SmartRecruiters over the past 18 months in the midst of this pandemic?
Yeah, I think so. We've been growing very rapidly, not only just this year as the world emerged out of the pandemic, but also last year. When the pandemic hit, we made a decision that maybe at the time sounded counterintuitive to most people. The decision we made was to not furlough or let go anybody. And I remember sitting in front of the Smartians, that's how we call the employees of SmartRecruiters, sitting in front of the Smartians and saying, yes, our job is to connect people to jobs at scale. And with this pandemic, I guess our job has just become way more important and way more critical than before. So we're not letting go anybody. On the contrary, we're actually going to be really there supporting our customers. And that actually worked. We grew sales by over 70% year over year last year. And of course, coming off the pandemic, we're on a similar trajectory. So the company has more than doubled in size in the last 18 months since the pandemic started. And I think it's a really, we're just a reflection of the market, in fact, right? Sure, we try to do good and we have a great software and we have good people and we do our job. But we are a reflection that actually recruiting matters these days.
It is counterintuitive, as you say, where a lot of organizations they took the pandemic as a sign to have a timeout, if you like, to go home, do less than they would normally do for a while, maybe furlough staff, and come back when ready. But you doubled down, and to be fair, you were in a good position, being a well-funded company, to double down, to not so much take advantage, but to do what you could for organizations who maybe weren't in a position to do it themselves. And
I think one of the initiatives we took 18 months ago, which today feels almost funny, is we launched a website called Recruiters Recruiting Recruiters. We kind of created an industry consortium, so that all the recruiters who were furloughed could go there to see recruitment opportunities for companies that were still growing, right? And it was like, let's just bring the industry together and support each other in this difficult moment. And it was a difficult moment. Fast forward a year, a recruiter is probably getting more phone calls on LinkedIn than a developer these days. It's crazy.
Who would have predicted that recruiters would be in such short demand right now? But these are crazy times that we're living in. So, given the global reach that SmartRecruiters is now in, you're in all corners of the planet. You've continued growing. You've taken on staff, and as I mentioned, that insight you have to organizations, it's put you and your organization in a leadership position where you can lead from the front, where you can show or influence or tell the stories of others in the marketplace. How do you view your role as an influencer, if you like, in the industry?
I'm humbled by it. I take this very, very seriously. And on a number of occasions, we say that, actually, we have the power to change things. We have the data, we have the influence, and what we do can actually do things better. I'll take an example on the candidate experience. Because this has been a fight and a battle for my career, which is when I started SmartRecruiters, I asked candidates, what do you guys want? And the candidates all say the same thing, and they continue 10 years later, they say the same. Can you please let me know that somebody has read my resume?
Yeah.
Like seriously, this is the level of candidate. That's the number one ask from candidates, right? So when I designed SmartRecruiters, I put a feature in there that when a customer reviews a resume, puts a rating, moves it forward, we send an email to the candidate and we say, someone at Visa has viewed your application. As simple as that, right? No information about where you are, but just that, right? And just that has been a battle. Like literally, I've been in discussions with prospective customers who are like, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that, right? And now, of course, it seems like, okay, yeah, of course you do that. But I think it's a good example that sometimes a technology vendor can help force change. And today, we process 80 million applicants a year, like the population of the UK every year, and that's 80 million people who are going to find out where their applications are, rather than not. So,
the black magic, if you like, of recruitment, where candidates feel that they're in the dark for much of the process, is one of the most frustrating things. So that's a great thing. But going beyond that, and you've used your influence through your technology there, but going beyond that, your access to knowledge and information on what candidates are preferring, how they either bail out of a recruitment process because they come across the bump that they don't appreciate, or that they're enthusiastic about some things in the hiring process. Your ability to relay that is really important, and people are looking to you for that kind of information.
Yeah, and I think we try to produce benchmarks for our customers to help them optimize. We have the hiring success methodology, website, master classes, a definitive guide to hiring success. So we really try to work with our customer on what does great look like, right? Because clearly hiring success is now in the boardroom. Every CEO in the world is thinking, oh my God, how can I achieve hiring success? How can I hire the people I need, just plain and simple? And so it's a moment in time where really recruiting can step up and say, if you measure recruiting from an angle of faster and cheaper, cost per hire, time to fill, it's just a race to the bottom. You're never going to get the people you need, right? So think about recruiting as hiring success, as a sales and marketing function. Invest in it as a sales and marketing function, and manage it as a sales and marketing function. And here the recruiters also have something to improve on, because they want to sit at the table, they want more money, but are they actually capable of running the function as a sales and marketing function? Can they reinvent themselves? So it's a joint evolution. Yes, the C-suite needs to pay more attention, give us more money so we can do a better job. But at the same time, we also need to transform so that we don't have just a bunch of full stack recruiters reading resumes they receive from job boards and hoping for the best, right? And there's a lot happening, of course, in the industry, but I think we are an industry in motion. And if you had to predict like 5 years from now, I think 5 years from now, every organization has an EVP of hiring success. And it has become, just like customer success and other function, it has become a core part of what you do, which is acquire the talent you need when you need them.
So that leads directly into quality of hire, where not only hiring someone to start a job on Monday morning is the most important thing, but the quality of the person who's hired, the longevity of how long they stay with the company, how well they succeed in the job, and so on, helping hiring managers hire better. That ties in with your diversity in hiring report, which has come out recently. Companies, I suppose, some companies are reluctant to go along that path because they think that by changing the way they hire, they're not as free to hire the people that they want, and they believe that they would know the best candidate when they see them. That said, when you see the stats and the facts and figures on opening up the pool of candidates to a more diverse, more flexible, more equitable workplace, it really does make more business sense. But tell us a little bit about the State of Diversity Hiring Report.
Yeah, so it's a good example where we use our influence to drive change, and that spanned from a plan we published 18 months ago that was our commitment to become an anti-racist, anti-discrimination force in the recruiting market. So not be a passive actor saying, I'm giving you good system, you do what you want with it, but being an active participant in fighting discrimination. And the first thing we did was we surveyed TA leaders. I actually did it myself. And I called over 50 global TA leaders. And so how do you do diversity hiring? What do you do? What are the processes? What do you do? And I realized that most organizations actually don't know how to achieve better diversity hiring outcomes, right? And let's be clear, a diverse team performs better than a non-diverse team. No debate about that, right? So it's not a question of it's cute, it's the right thing to do. No, it's about business performance. Second, diverse hiring is just good hiring, because if you actually achieve diverse hiring, it's because you have a wide and good sourcing and a non-discriminatory selection, and you're actually doing a good job at picking the best candidate for the right reason. If you don't have diverse hiring, it means you actually are picking the wrong candidates for the wrong reasons. Right? So we're not here trying to say, oh, you should do what's right, be on the right side of history. No, we say be professional and actually run recruiting like it should be run. So we built a methodology for diversity hiring success, 16 criteria with a maturity model. We surveyed 400 companies and on simple questions like, do you have neutral job descriptions? Yeah, actually, sometimes we do. Sometimes we review them, but we are not sure. Do you have a control? No, we have no control, right? So how much are you in ensuring that your job descriptions are neutral, just as one of the 60? And this report is not only a state of diversity hiring, it's also a methodology and a guideline how to improve yourself and how to benchmark and make progress along this diversity hiring maturity model. And this started again with our reach, where we're like, I could try to make SmartRecruiters a diverse workplace, and of course I do, but we're only 400 people, or we are getting to 500. It's not a lot of people. Our customers hire 1 million people a year. So if we can help our customers get better, that's a real change.
So many organizations, they look at diversity hiring and they believe that they only have to make changes at the decision-making process, at the point at which they have a short list of 5 candidates and they choose the diverse candidate from there. By doing so, they're missing the entire point. That diversity has to start before you even write the job description, before you design the nature of the job, and in everything that your organization puts out in terms of describing who they are and what they are, and allowing themselves to be transparent. So all of those things from the very earliest evolution of a company go into how your company is perceived, and that leads into who's going to be attracted to applying for your jobs in the first place. But it's no good just deciding at the end we'll hire the diverse candidate from the short list of people that have come through the same process, because that's the wrong end of the funnel.
It is, and the bias is in full motion by then. There's actually studies that in a short list of 3, the minority loses. Always, whether the minority is a social minority or not. So if you put 2 men and a woman in a process, the woman loses. If you put 2 women and a man in a process, the man loses. If you put 2 white and a black, the black loses. If you put 2 blacks and a white, the white loses. Just pure, simple, like Harvard studies on natural bias, right? So the idea that adding 1 diverse candidate per shortlist, like, nah, don't bother. That's not diversity hiring, right?
And again, people need to remember that candidates have much more choice these days. They will not choose to come and work for you if they don't perceive your organization to be a good fit for them, not the other way around. So candidates are balancing multiple offers, and they can decide, well, A, to apply in the first place, or B, to accept your offer when they get to the end of the process. In the influence that you have with your clients and with the reports and the insights that you bring out that help them do what they do better in hiring, how do candidates feel the benefit of that? How does that have a knock-on effect to what job seekers experience? And how are you able to see the world through the perspective of those job seekers?
I think the experience that job seekers have is experiencing organizations that are more inclusive throughout, right? From what the website say, what the tone is, what the job description says, how they are being received, how they are being evaluated, the transparency of the evaluation, the collaboration around the evaluation. So they just get a better experience, right? And it starts for me, it starts very simple. Often people are like, yeah, diversity, and I go, okay, so do you have a clear scorecard to evaluate candidates on each job? Are the interviewers filling the scorecard religiously? And do you have a transparent view to discuss the outcome to make your hiring decision? And in most organizations, they're like, well, no, not really. Yeah, we have scorecards, but the manager's not using it. I don't know how to influence. They don't want to talk to me. I'm emailing the resume. And in the end, the manager just makes the decision they want to make, they were going to make anyway on their own without any control. That's just bad hiring, right? This is why I say good diversity hiring is just good hiring. It's like hire the right people for the right reasons, and that will naturally lead to better diversity. I think that of transparency, of inclusion in the process is noticeable for all candidates, not just candidates who belong to a minority in the country or in the location where you are hiring.
Whenever the bar is raised, when expectations are raised by some companies, then the companies who are not meeting those standards will be left out by candidates. Candidates will see the difference, and they won't tell you. They just won't apply, or they just won't be accepting your offers anymore. And when companies talk about being ghosted these days, a candidate was offered a job and never replied to them, didn't come back, or they accepted a job and didn't show up on the day to start. Those companies are experiencing that firsthand, where a candidate has made a choice. And they're not getting the best people coming to join them.
I think that when that happens to you as a recruiter, sit back and think, have I ever done that to a candidate, right? Leave them in the dark, ghost them, right? So it's just a balance of power here. And I think the one lesson, interestingly, that we are seeing now is that, of course, speed is of the essence, and companies who move fast actually win. And that's the first thing. We really push hard internally at SmartRecruiters for this rule. The rule, and I've been talking about for ages, is 14 days. When you get in touch with a good candidate, and I'm not talking frontline workers, I'm talking knowledge workers where you have a long interview process. You have 14 days to make an offer, right? And we've structured our processes accordingly. So week one, you meet, so you have a telephone screen with a recruiter, They introduce you to the hiring manager. Hiring manager has a good chat saying, okay, this is possible. You then week two go into your team interview, your panel, your deep selection at the beginning of the week. And on Friday of that week, or Thursday or Friday of that week, you actually talk to the hiring manager again and get your offer. And we've been running this 2-week cycle now pretty effectively at SmartRecruiters. And as a result, our hiring velocity is like we remain strong in that and hitting our hiring goals. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's all about hiring velocity. It's what percentage of jobs are filled on time? Simple. It's like, 50%. Well, that means you get half of the reps you need, right? Well, okay. So, and I think this is where the C-suite gets really interested, right? If you talk to them about time to hire, time to hire is 39 days. I don't care. Like, start earlier. It's like it doesn't. 39 days, you could say 47 or 22. I really don't know what it means. But if you tell me that our hiring velocity at the moment is 50%, that means that 50% of the jobs are filled on time. I'm like, oh shit, because actually hiring velocity and business velocity are just two sides of the same coin. And so C-suite gets really interested in that metric.
So is the structure of SmartRecruiters that it nudges recruiters to deploy better practice? They are scoring candidates in a fair way. They're hiring candidates quicker. They're moving them through the process faster.
Yeah, I think when I started SmartRecruiters, I really thought deeply about, okay, what does great recruiting look like? What do you need to achieve hiring success?
Mm-hmm.
And we landed on 3 simple things. One, you need to find good candidates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Clear. That speaks to your marketing capabilities, the candidate experience, the website, how you attract candidates.
Yeah.
2, you need to choose the right one, which speaks to manager engagement and collaboration in the process. Right?
Mm.
And 3, as a recruiter, you need to be productive and have all your ducks in a row and have all your data, processes, suppliers in one place, so you can be compliant and in control. And then you run this against, the first generation ATS, right? Does Stelio or Brightstring or iTeams or whatever, does Stelio help you find candidates? Nope. It was designed to track applicants, not to find candidates. Okay.
Yeah.
Do managers use it with a smile on their face every day? No, absolutely not. Just email me the resumes and shut up. And as a result, are the recruiters happy and productive? Absolutely not. Right.
Yeah.
And that's the change we represent. It's like we give companies a good set of marketing tools, CRM, referral, job distribution, great website, matching engine, sourcing, like this is a real marketing platform. Second, we've optimized for collaboration with hiring managers. So hiring managers love using SmartRecruiters. Therefore, the process is more transparent, it's more fluid, it's more fair, and it removes bias. And third, as a platform, we've brought all the suppliers. We have like 400 companies pre-integrated to SmartRecruiters. So background check, reference check, LinkedIn, Glassdoor, everybody. And therefore, as a recruiter or as a TA leader, you actually end up with all of your data in one place. So you get better at attracting candidates, you get better at collaborating with managers, and you have everything you need in one platform. That's the change we represent for organizations.
So with all of this experience and knowledge, how does that inform, or how has that informed your judging of the NORA finalists, which you've been doing in the past few weeks? We haven't had your scores in yet. I'm looking forward to seeing those. But how has that informed your view of employers or agencies or job boards when you're looking at those, given the experience that you have? Yeah.
So first of all, I think my benchmark for a career website is an e-commerce website.
Yeah.
Like my benchmark for your career website is Amazon.com, not the career website of Amazon, the commercial site, right?
Yeah.
Because there I can go and in 2 clicks, here I go and I purchase whatever I needed, right? Yeah. Okay, so how they've optimized this conversion, they've optimized that at a level that you should be thinking about. So I start there and I'm like, how long does it take me to get to an interesting job? Not fluff. Leave the fluff out. This is the FAQ. People put a lot of the fluff and the jobs are hidden. No. Bring the jobs forward and bring the right job forward.
Yeah.
You know who I am. You can cookie me if you want. You know who I am. Show me a job I'm interested in. Like, don't ask me to start with a massive search engine that says, do I want to be a plumber or an electrician? And do I want to live in Pakistan or in the UK? Like, just, you know who I am. So target me properly, message me properly. And please, if I click on I'm interested, like, optimize that funnel, right? Because that funnel is just crazy. And literally, I sometimes I say, if you were as a TA leader, if you were in marketing, you would be fired.
Yeah.
When people look at your career website and look at the conversion, and you're spending money to drive traffic to this website, and it's not converting, you're just wasting money, right? So I think that my bar is very simple. This is an e-commerce website. The goal is to attract people in. And that should be the one of the main goals. But if you achieve that, then the rest is important. But anyway, you go to Glassdoor. They don't believe what's written on your website, right?
It's an old trope, but getting hiring managers or TA leaders to go and apply for a job on their own website is usually the biggest revelation, and they are normally shocked at how difficult it is. And when the judges and the NORAs go through the contenders, we have 2 sets of judges. So the first set of judges go through everyone who's been nominated, and they will see lots of sites that are not even close to standard, but their job is to whittle down the ones who are worthy of being finalists. So it should be the case that when you get to being a finalist, that we know that you're good, and what we're doing is we're trying to pick out the ones who are excellent. But still, we see flashes of brilliance, as well as we see some old practices that should be pushed to one side, especially in certain sectors. And the more that we can pick out the ones who are really doing things well, the more that everyone can take inspiration from the best. And you know, as you say, when you look at Amazon and you see how they have raised the bar for consumer expectations. When you go to a website, you expect it to work like this, this, and this. Whether it's Amazon or eBay or YouTube, whenever people are going onto sites online, they expect things to just work. You know, in the same way as Apple products. So when candidates go to job websites, they expect it to be intuitive. They expect to be delighted. So I need to ask, lastly, as a global organization with access to mountains of relevant data, what should we expect to experience as recruiters and, of course, as job seekers in the coming year? What do you see happening? We've had an immense amount of changes so far.
Yeah, I think it's not going to slow down. I actually think that we are kicking off a complete new era of work and where people work. I think people's priorities have changed. Impact, purpose, passion over location. Like, I want to do something different in my life. I think the current market is showing us that actually I can change job if I want to. If I don't like my boss, I can easily change job. I can find something better. I want something better in my life. And that, for me, is amazing change, because it means that in the end, we're finally going to bring some transparency and fluidity in the labor market, which leads to a better job for everybody and hopefully a better pay as well for everybody. Yes, organizations have to adapt, but that actually brings the whole market, the whole world to a better place. And for us recruiters, it's like, finally, right? Somebody has pressed the emergency button. And now the CEO is looking down and saying, how are you guys doing? Because I need my people, right? So now is the time to step up and say, well, actually, madam, we're going to need some support here, because you have been neglecting us for years. And if you want to hire great people, you need to invest in recruiting, just like you invest in marketing to get customers. It's the same.
Love to see that. Yeah. What I love to see now is candidates asserting themselves, candidates pushing back, and the clever companies, the companies who are going to do well, are the companies who are paying attention and they're responding to that. So it's great to see. Jerome, I've noticed the time. We're just coming up to the end of our time. Can I say thank you very much for being a stellar, first-class guest today. It's great to have SmartRecruiters on board for the NORAs. I love that you know, your values and ours are very much intertwined. So it's great to have you on board. I don't think we're going to see you at the event, but I know that we're going to have a whole team of SmartRecruiters people, Smartians, at the event on the 10th of November. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I do hope that sometime soon we get to see you in person. When's the next time you expect to be in the UK?
I'll be there in the late spring, actually. So that's my current plan. And in the meantime, a proper Smartian invasion at NORA event is what we have in the books.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. Thank you very much for being my guest. Thank you, everyone who's been watching as live. I know we're going out to lots of social media channels at the same time, and anyone who's watching on replay. We will have more shows coming up. The next show is tomorrow. We have a show with Sourcebreaker. So that's at 1 o'clock tomorrow with Steve Beckett from Sourcebreaker. So please tune in for that. In the meantime, thank you very much for joining me, Jerome. Thanks, everyone who's been watching, and goodbye. Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye.